Commander Marcus Kane never expected to wake up on an alien vessel. The last thing he remembered was coordinating defense systems at the lunar outpost, then darkness. Now, he found himself in a chamber that seemed to pulse with its own life, surrounded by walls of shifting iridescent metal that reminded him of liquid mercury. His military training kicked in immediately as he assessed his surroundings. The room was spacious but sparse, containing only what appeared to be a bed and several floating panels of light that he assumed were some kind of interface. Through a massive viewport, he could see Earth floating like a blue marble against the vast darkness of space. The door, or what he assumed was a door, dissolved into the wall with a soft chime. Marcus tensed, ready for confrontation. What entered instead left him momentarily speechless. She stood nearly 7 feet tall, her skin a deep emerald that seemed to shimmer with its own inner light. Geometric patterns of bioluminescence traced across her exposed arms like living tattoos. Her armor was unlike anything he'd seen. It appeared to be made of overlapping scales that shifted and moved as if alive, yet had the metallic sheen of advanced technology. "Commander Kane," she said, her voice carrying an otherworldly harmonic that made the hair on the back of his neck stand up. "I am Kira, First Blade of the Saracen Guard. You are now under my protection." Marcus straightened, meeting her gaze. Her eyes were completely black except for pinpricks of golden light that seemed to analyze his every movement. "Protection from what exactly? And why me?" "Your species has drawn attention you are not prepared for," Kira replied, moving further into the room with predatory grace. "There are those who see humanity's rapid advancement as a threat. Others who view your kind as a resource to be harvested. The Saracen Council has chosen to intervene. By kidnapping me?" Marcus challenged, though he kept his tone measured. Years of diplomatic training had taught him the value of careful words. A sound emerged from Kira that might have been a laugh, or a warning. "If we wished you harm, Commander, this conversation would be unnecessary. You were chosen because of your position, your knowledge, and your unique genetic markers." Before Marcus could question that last part, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Kira's bioluminescent patterns flared bright, and her armor scales bristled like an angry serpent. "We have been tracked," she growled, materializing a weapon from seemingly nowhere, a staff that crackled with energy. "The harvester ships have found us sooner than anticipated." "Let me help," Marcus said instantly, military instincts taking over. "I'm not going to just sit here while dash." "You will do exactly that," Kira cut him off, moving to stand between him and the door. "My life is now bound to your protection. If you die, I die. Those are the terms of my oath." The ship shuddered under what Marcus recognized as weapons fire. Through the viewport, he caught glimpses of dark shapes moving against the stars. "Then we better both stay alive," he said grimly. "Because I have a feeling this is just the beginning." Kira's golden eyes fixed on him with an intensity that seemed to peer straight into his soul. "Indeed, Commander Kane. This is merely the first wave. And they will not stop until they have what they came for." The ship rocked again, more violently this time. Emergency lights began pulsing along the walls. And in that moment, as Marcus watched his alien protector prepare for battle, he realized his life had irreversibly changed. The only question was, would this strange partnership ensure humanity's survival, or hasten its doom? The harvester ship struck with devastating precision. Through the viewport, Marcus watched as dark vessels seeming to absorb the very starlight around them engaged with Kira's ship. Their design was organic yet mechanical, like massive insects made of void-black metal. "Your species calls them gray aliens," Kira explained, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. "A simplistic name for a complex threat. The harvesters are a collective consciousness that spreads across galaxies, consuming genetic material to enhance their own evolution." "And they're interested in humans?" Marcus asked, studying the battle unfolding before them. Despite his forced passenger status, his tactical mind was already analyzing patterns in the enemy's movements. "Your adaptability makes you unique," Kira replied, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with increased intensity. "Humanity has survived multiple extinction events, evolved rapidly, and developed technology at an unprecedented rate. The harvesters want to understand why." The ship shuddered under another barrage. Marcus steadied himself against a wall that felt oddly warm and living beneath his touch. "Understanding is one thing. But I'm guessing their research methods aren't exactly ethical." A grim smile crossed Kira's alien features. "They extract what they want through a process that leaves their subjects hollow. Empty shells without consciousness or will." Before Marcus could respond, a new alarm blared, different from the others. Kira's expression shifted to one of genuine concern. "They're attempting to breach the hull. 3 entry points detected." "Give me a weapon," Marcus demanded. When Kira started to object, he cut her off. "You took an oath to protect me. I get it. But I'm not going to stand here helpless while you fight alone." For a moment, Kira's golden eyes studied him with an unreadable expression. Then, with a fluid motion, she reached into her living armor and withdrew what appeared to be a sleek pistol. "The neural interface will recognize your biology. Point and think." Marcus took the weapon, surprised by its lightweight feel and how it seemed to hum in response to his touch. "Simple enough. Now what's our strategy?" "We need to reach the bridge," Kira said, moving toward the door. "From there, I can activate the ship's primary defense systems. Stay close to me, and dash." The wall behind them exploded inward. Marcus spun, weapon raised, and found himself face to face with a harvester. It was tall and spindly, with gray skin that seemed to shift and ripple like liquid metal. Multiple black eyes reflected his own image back at him, and where its mouth should have been, there was only a mass of writhing tendrils. Marcus didn't hesitate. He thought, "Fire," and the weapon responded instantly, launching a bolt of energy that struck the creature square in the chest. It stumbled back but didn't fall. 2 more appeared behind it. Kira's energy staff crackled to life as she moved with inhuman speed, placing herself between Marcus and the threats. "Remember, Commander, if you die, I die. And I have no intention of failing my oath today." The next few minutes were chaos. Marcus had been in combat before, but nothing like this. The harvesters moved like liquid mercury, their forms shifting and adapting to each attack. Kira was a blur of motion, her staff leaving trails of light as she struck with deadly precision. Marcus provided covering fire, surprised at how quickly he adapted to the alien weapon. They fought their way through corridors that seemed to pulse and shift around them, the ship itself responding to the invasion. More harvesters appeared, but Kira and Marcus had found a rhythm, her aggressive advance complemented by his tactical support. "The bridge is just ahead," Kira called out, her patterns glowing bright with exertion. "Once inside, I can dash." She never finished the sentence. A new figure stepped into view, larger than the others, its form constantly shifting between different alien appearances. Marcus felt a pressure in his mind, like something trying to rifle through his thoughts. "The Guardian program is a failure," the being spoke, its voice seeming to come from everywhere at once. "You cannot prevent the inevitable. Humanity's potential belongs to us." Kira's response was a snarl of defiance, but Marcus noticed something alarming. Her bioluminescent patterns were dimming, and her movements had slowed. Whatever this entity was, it was affecting her somehow. Making a split-second decision, Marcus did the opposite of what Kira had been telling him to do since they met. Instead of staying behind her, he stepped forward, placing himself between her and the enemy. The mental pressure intensified, becoming almost unbearable. "Humanity's potential," Marcus growled through gritted teeth, "belongs to humanity." He raised the weapon, fighting against the crushing force in his mind, and made a discovery about himself and the neural interface weapon. It didn't just respond to simple commands. It responded to intent. To will. And right now, Marcus Kane's will was very, very strong. The bridge of the Saracen ship erupted in chaos as Marcus's will channeled through the neural interface weapon. Golden energy exploded outward, temporarily disrupting the Harvester leader's psychic assault. Kira seized the moment, her bioluminescent patterns flaring back to life as she launched herself forward with renewed strength. The defense systems, she shouted, moving toward a central console. Cover me. Marcus positioned himself at the bridge entrance, weapon ready. His mind felt raw from the psychic attack, but something else was emerging, a strange awareness of the ship itself, as if the neural interface had opened new pathways in his consciousness. Your genetic markers, Kira called out as her hands flew across holographic controls. They're not just unique, they're engineered. Generations ago, my people seeded Earth with genetic potential. You, Commander Kane, are the result. The revelation hit Marcus hard, but he didn't have time to process it. More harvesters were converging on their position, their liquid metal forms flowing through every available entrance. He fired repeatedly, each shot guided by an increasingly intuitive connection to the weapon. The Guardian program wasn't random, Kira continued, her voice tight with concentration. We've been waiting for someone like you to emerge. A human with the right genetic sequence to interface with our technology. To help us fight them. Could have mentioned this earlier, Marcus grunted, ducking under a tendril of living metal that whipped toward his head. Like before kidnapping me? A sound that might have been a laugh came from Kira. Would you have believed me? Humans are notoriously skeptical. The ship's systems suddenly hummed to life around them. Streams of energy began flowing through previously invisible channels in the walls. Marcus felt it all through his heightened awareness. The vessel wasn't just a ship, it was almost alive, responding to Kira's commands like an extension of her will. The Harvester leader reappeared, its form now a twisted amalgamation of dozens of species. The sequence is incomplete, it said in that all-pervading voice. The human's potential is raw, unfinished. Give him to us, Guardian. We will perfect what your people started. I've seen your kind of perfection, Marcus replied, raising his weapon. Tends to leave a lot of bodies behind. But something was wrong. The leader's presence was stronger now, and Marcus felt his thoughts beginning to fragment. Beside him, Kira stumbled, her patterns flickering erratically. Their psychic abilities are overwhelming our defenses, she gasped. The ship's consciousness is being corrupted. We need to dash. She never finished. The leader's form suddenly liquefied, splitting into dozens of metallic tendrils that shot toward them with devastating speed. Marcus felt Kira slam into him, pushing him aside, taking the brunt of the attack. She cried out, the first time he'd heard her show any sign of pain. Time seemed to slow. Marcus saw Kira on her knees, the living metal beginning to envelope her. The ship's defenses were failing, its consciousness being overwritten by the Harvester's influence. And in that moment, Marcus understood why he'd been chosen. It wasn't just about genetic markers or ancient engineering. It was about choice. Free will. The very thing the Harvesters sought to eliminate. The neural interface weapon hummed in his hand, responding to his realization. But it wasn't enough. He needed more. Needed to connect not just to the weapon, but to the ship itself. Kira, he called out, fighting against the psychic pressure threatening to overwhelm him. How do I fully link with the ship's systems? Her golden eyes met his, understanding dawning. It could kill you. If I die, you die, remember? He managed a grim smile. So let's not die. Kira's patterns pulsed once, bright and clear. Remove the limiter on your weapon. Press it to any console. Your mind will do the rest. Marcus didn't hesitate. As the Harvester leader loomed over them, as Kira fought against the consuming metal, as the ship itself seemed to scream in its death throes, he made his choice. The connection, when it came, was like nothing he could have imagined. Every system, every particle of the living metal that made up the ship, suddenly became an extension of his consciousness. And through it all ran a single, burning truth. The harvesters hadn't come to perfect humanity. They'd come because they feared what humanity might become. The ship's consciousness merged with Marcus's mind in a surge of information and sensation. Every system, every circuit, every particle of living metal became an extension of his will. Through this connection, he felt everything, including Kira's life force weakening as the harvester's corruption spread through her armor. The harvester leader's psychic presence pressed against his consciousness, trying to overwhelm him. But something was different now. Where before there had been vulnerability, now there was strength. The genetic markers Kira had mentioned weren't just compatible with Saracen technology, they were meant to improve upon it. Impossible, the leader's voice echoed through his mind. The sequence is incomplete. You cannot dash. Marcus didn't waste energy responding. Instead, he acted. Through his connection to the ship, he began reorganizing its very structure. The living metal that made up the walls and floors responded to his commands, shifting and flowing like mercury. He directed it toward Kira first, pulling the corrupted nanites from her armor, purifying them with an instinct he didn't fully understand. Kira gasped as her patterns flared back to life, burning bright and clear. Her golden eyes locked onto his with a new understanding, and something else. Something that went beyond Guardian in charge, beyond duty and protocol. The ship's weapons, she called out, regaining her feet. Channel everything through the main array. But Marcus had already seen it in the ship's systems, a better way. The harvesters weren't just attacking their ship, they were linked to each other through a vast psychic network. A network he could now see, could touch through his enhanced connection to Saracen technology. They fear us, he said, his voice strange to his own ears as the ship's harmonics merged with it. Not just humans, any species with true free will. Any being they can't control. The harvester leader's form writhed, its borrowed shapes twisting as it tried to maintain control. We bring perfection. Unity. Purpose. You bring extinction, Kira snarled, her staff crackling with energy. You consume what makes each species unique and leave nothing but empty shells. Marcus felt the ship's power building around them, responding to his will. But he also felt something else, a resonance between his enhanced consciousness and Kira's bioluminescent patterns. Their minds touched through the ship's systems, and in that touch was a revelation. The Guardian program wasn't just about protection. It was about evolution. About combining the best aspects of both species to create something new. Something that could stand against the void the harvesters represented. Your oath, Marcus said to Kira, their minds still linked through the ship. It goes both ways now, doesn't it? Her patterns pulsed in confirmation. From the moment you fully connected to the ship. We are bound, Marcus Kane. 2 species, 1 purpose. The harvester leader launched another assault, both physical and psychic. But this time, Marcus and Kira moved as one. Her combat expertise flowed through their link, guiding his control of the ship's systems. His human adaptability enhanced her traditional techniques, creating attack patterns the harvesters had never encountered. Together, they began pushing the invaders back. The ship's living metal responded to their combined will, sealing breaches and trapping harvesters in prisons of reorganized matter. Through their link, Marcus could feel Kira's fierce joy in battle, her pride in their shared strength. But the leader remained, its power still immense. As they faced it on the bridge, Marcus felt the cost of maintaining such deep connection to the ship's systems. His mind was burning, stretched between too many levels of consciousness. Kira felt it too. Through their link came her concern, her fear of losing him, emotions that went far beyond her oath as a guardian. You need to disconnect, she urged. The human mind wasn't meant to channel this much power. Neither was Saracen technology meant to merge with human genetics, he replied, managing a strained smile. But here we are. The leader gathered its power for one final assault. If we cannot have your potential, it thundered, we will ensure no one does. Marcus grabbed Kira's hand, their patterns of energy and consciousness merging completely. Then let's show you exactly what that potential can do. The bridge of the Saracen ship blazed with energy as Marcus and Kira faced the Harvester leader. Their joined consciousness flowed through the ship's systems, human intuition and alien technology creating something entirely new. The leader's psychic assault crashed against their combined defenses like waves against stone. Your species are flawed, the leader's voice resonated through their minds. Imperfect. We offer transcendence. Through their link, Marcus felt Kira's memories of worlds the Harvesters had transcended, planets turned to graveyards, species reduced to hollow shells. He shared with her humanity's history of resistance, of overcoming impossible odds, of finding strength in individual choice and collective will. The ship responded to their shared purpose. Living metal flowed like liquid starlight, forming new configurations the Saraxians had never imagined. Marcus's genetic potential, awakened by the neural interface, allowed him to push the technology beyond its intended limits. Kira's ancestral knowledge guided these innovations, preventing them from tearing the ship apart. Humanity's flaws are its strength, Marcus declared, his voice harmonizing with the ship's frequencies. We learn. We adapt. We choose. The leader's form expanded, becoming a writhing mass of absorbed consciousnesses. Your choices end here. But Marcus and Kira were ready. They had seen the truth through their merged perspective. The Harvester's greatest weakness was their need for absolute control. Through the ship's sensors, they could see the enemy fleet linked in their perfect, rigid hierarchy. All connected. All vulnerable. Marcus channeled power through the ship's reconfigured systems while Kira focused their shared combat experience. The leader's attack met a defense that bent but didn't break, absorbing and redirecting energy in ways that defied its understanding of physics. Now, Kira commanded, her patterns synchronized with Marcus's heightened neural activity. They struck as one. Not with traditional weapons, but with a pulse of pure consciousness, human creativity merged with Saracen precision. It traveled through the psychic network binding the Harvester ships, introducing an element they couldn't process, free will. The leader's form began to fragment as the pulse reached its fleet. What have you done? Given them a choice, Marcus answered, watching through the viewport as Harvester ships began breaking formation, their rigid hierarchy dissolving into chaos. The corruption in the leader's consciousness was spreading, infecting its entire network with the concept of individual choice. Some ships fled. Others turned on each other, their perfectly ordered society shattering under the weight of newfound autonomy. The leader made one final attempt to maintain control, launching itself at Marcus and Kira. But their combined strength was too much. The ship's living metal responded to their will, encasing the leader in an ever-shrinking prison of conscious matter. Your evolution ends here, Kira declared, her staff delivering the final blow that reduced the leader to inert material. As the remaining Harvester ships retreated or destroyed themselves, Marcus felt the strain of maintaining such deep connection to the ship's systems. His consciousness began to fade, the neural interface threatening to overwhelm his human biology. Kira caught him as he stumbled. Through their link, he felt her fear, her concern, and something deeper. The oath that bound them had evolved into something neither species had anticipated. Stay with me, Marcus Kane, she commanded, her patterns pulsing in time with his heartbeat. Our journey is not over. He managed to focus on her golden eyes, feeling the ship's systems gradually stabilize around them. The Guardian program, he said weakly. This isn't what they planned, is it? Her lips curved in a fierce smile. No. This is something new. Something better. As his strength returned, Marcus stood with Kira's help, both of them watching Earth rotate slowly through the viewport. The Harvester threat was ended, but they had created something unprecedented, a true merger of human and Saracen potential. So, he said, feeling the comfortable hum of their shared consciousness, what happens now? Kira's patterns shimmered with amusement and affection. Now, Commander Kane, we evolve. Together. The ship's living metal rippled around them, responding to their combined will. And in that moment, both human and alien warrior knew they had found something neither species had expected, a future unlimited by the boundaries of either world. Their oath had become something more than duty, their bond deeper than guardian and charge. As the ship set course for Earth, Marcus and Kira stood together, ready to show both their peoples what they could become when they chose to embrace the unknown, and each other.